Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night for all of the people in front of the monitors and my great guest today, Lotte and Karl. How are you doing today?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yep, good. Thank you. Here too.
Are you joining the summer vibes already? Is the holidays somewhere ahead of you soon, or you are?
You
Karl,
got,
you're in the office, so, so you're not on holidays.
yeah, I can see out the window though. It's got decent weather today, so hopefully it carries on through the weekend.
It's pretty warm in London, I can say. It's shorts weather, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And not like
I heard
Lee Kelleher, Mike Macy wear shorts all year round weather. It's actually Lotte Pitcher shorts weather.
Okay, so yeah, that's some similar here, and my kid is going for a holiday this weekend, so I feel it more from the other perspective than my holidays perspective this year. But that's cool, and of course, as usual, it's a little bit more maybe silent from some perspectives, but from the other perspectives, not so. I hope that everyone is enjoying their week. Let us all know in the comments how it's going, and this week we can interact more. I can interact more with you as well on the chat because last week was in the rush, and I made it without interactions. So hey, let's talk Umbraco. Let's talk Umbraco and everything else what happened this week. And we can start from a great product update from Rune, released recently, highlighting everything what was cool to highlight, of course, from the recent Umbraco actions. And starting from, of course, Umbraco Commerce official release. And I was surprised. I don't know what about you, but Matt teased it on Twitter that tomorrow is a great day, huge day, something. And I said, "What is going on? What is happening? What it will be? Headless for Umbraco Commerce?" And then I realized, oh, it's an official rendered release. Did you have a chance already to play around with it, to use it, or to see it in action, Lotte, Karl?
I've not used it yet. Obviously, it'd be really good to use it on a project and try it out. But yeah, not a chance yet.
No, I'm just to date my e-commerce experience. The last one I used was Marcello.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But if I did have the right project, I'd love to use it. That's for sure.
I made some jokes with my teammates because for years I was avoiding e-commerce on purpose. On purpose, I was avoiding it, and now I have a lot of e-commerce projects where I'm involved in, and it's really interesting to understand some of the domain's challenges and the things that are similar across the platforms. And now I can relate more to what Matt and team and everyone else building e-commerce solutions struggle with. So that's really cool to see. Of course, right now it is official. There was a lot of additions and rebrandings inside of the product, the libraries, and the code. There was also an Umbraco separated blog post highlighting everything what's in there from Matt, also mentioning key features and everything else that was refreshed and adjusted to be working as an Umbraco Commerce with a roadmap updates, which we'll be talking about. And also what I found, packages such as Umbraco Commerce Deploy, because right now there are some requirements to make, for example, commerce solution work on cloud or in between of the environments. So there's a lot of things to be supported also by Umbraco Deploy, and it was all released together with that one. So big kudos for the whole team and everyone else involved to make it official. And now it's time to capture the market and see it's working. Together with that, and next to that, there is of course Umbraco 12 release that was mentioned last week. I haven't had a chance yet to play with Umbraco 12, official 12, but I've seen a lot of people doing it. What is the most recent versions you use for your projects, or what is the most fresh Umbraco you are working on?
For fresh projects, it's still on 10, just for the long-term support, but we played around with 11 and the release candidate for 12, just to see what's going on and make sure we're ready to make that jump when we get to 13, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to do nothing but Umbraco 7 at the moment. So I've actually forgotten what's starting a new one. Yeah, upgrading Umbraco 7, but we'll be going straight to 12, I think, unless there's a good reason not to.
Yeah, I think that's also a theme in a lot of teams I work with. It's like Umbraco 7 is still there. Something needs to happen with it, and let's find out what. But Umbraco 12 is here. There is official unboxing video from Umbraco team as well. And yeah, it's ready to be used. There are APIs, endpoints, and people playing around with it already. So be sure to check it out and maybe start Umbraco project with Umbraco 12. Who knows? There are some new updates packages we were talking about, but speaking about Umbraco 10, that's something what I wanted to mention today as well. There was also a new release of Umbraco 10. It's 10.6 with some backported features from some recent PRs from Umbraco 11 and aligning with Umbraco 12, but also 39 bug fixes and features and additions altogether with 26 of them contributed by the community. So pretty cool. And Karl, not you can. I wanted to mention something. I lost my thought. But yeah, I wanted to highlight that the first-time contributors are still translating stuff, and I found one Polish guy who was doing some Polish translations in the Umbraco 10.6 too. And yeah, for the long-term support, that's what I wanted to mention. There is still a lot of people like you, Karl, who are choosing Umbraco 10 as a first choice, and I think right now it will be just better with Umbraco 10.6. So did you upgrade, Karl, already to 10.6?
Not yet. That's probably next week's jobs.
Yeah. Speaking about updates to the roadmap, that's something cool to highlight. And of course, all of the links and everything else will be in the video description, so everyone who is watching us now can check them up later. But new in and now is headless APIs for Umbraco Commerce. That's something what was also announced on Code Garden and after. Automated minor upgrades, but also removed idea of pre-installed packages for new projects in Umbraco Cloud. That was something what was an idea, some cool things that we can have like Uno starter kits being already available on cloud, but it seems like it got deprioritized at least for now, and there are some other things to be done there. Some new things in next and the new in later as well. For the things like load balancing from Umbraco Cloud or custom identity providers.
You scroll up much. Can you just scroll up much into the new and next block level variations? This to me sounds like we will be able to have variants inside block lists, which sounds pretty cool.
Yep, and it was discussed on one of the talks on the Code Garden, like not only language variants, but generally variants for everything, and that would be cool. And it was something what was in the relation of moving reusable components as well out of the content tree. So huge potential, and that would be really, really cool to see variants of the blocks and also reusable blocks in the separate sections, so we can have some kind of A/B testing or maybe something else like that.
Because I'm thinking of one of my V7 sites that has a grid with Vorto elements inside the grid. So you've got each bit of there can be translated, which is not, we're just going to have to build again, I think, for those pages. But interesting to know that one day, whatever next means.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on the roadmap, and as it also was mentioned in Matt's post about Umbraco Commerce, there are also some additions to the commerce product. And for example, in this case, in Next, there's a really nice, interesting topic for all the e-commerce freaks and integration of the shipping providers to Umbraco Commerce, something what other maybe a little bit more evolved platforms for the e-commerce has connected already, and something what was awaited for vendor and Umbraco landscape. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's a cool roadmap ahead, and all the other news that we can relate to, please check them up. But that's also a lot of topics to be potentially discussed with the community. Right, guys, and you are wearing a great T-shirt today, completely not to promote any activity and anything what is happening still in the Umbraco community, but that's cool. And of course, please share more about what we are talking about here when it comes to Codecabin. What is your involvement in the initiative, and why we are mentioning it very boldly today, and why today? So
it's very timely today, isn't it? Because today's the application deadline. So yes. Codecabin, for anybody who doesn't know, is the unconference. So this is probably the bits which you do in between talks at conferences, where you chat to people, you discuss code, you discuss what you're working on, maybe some ideas you've got, or maybe you pull out a laptop and have a little bit of a hack during a conference when you should be attending talks instead. That's kind of the idea behind it. And then last year, myself and Lotte were asked to join the organizing team with Matt, Lucy, and Lee. So we're on here to promote it.
Yeah, we've been given, they've put their faith in us that we can do it without them. And yeah, I think like Codecabin, we've just been to Codecabin, and it's never long enough to talk to people about real things and to get deep dive into stuff. And as Karl says, maybe open up the laptop and actually just have a look at this specific thing and everything. Codecabin is where you have all the time to do this. And you set, as a group, we set the agenda. It starts from late Friday afternoon, goes through to Monday morning. So we have 2 full days over the weekend. And in advance, we've done it for the last couple of years that we use Trello, and we kind of plan what people want to talk about, how much hacking people want to do, how much talking we want to do. And then you can see the venue. It's the same venue as you're looking in this video. There's one big room, which was just on screen there. And then there's a little, the snug room, a smaller room, so we can have sort of 2 things running concurrently. And it's a beautiful part of the English countryside. And it's just it's really fun, useful. I'm going to run out of other adjectives. I have run out of other adjectives that appeared.
That's something what I really captured as a very cool initiative, and we've been talking about it with a couple of the team members as well previously. But also one name for it was like MVP Factory, and you both can probably agree to that, because there was a lot of people who maybe also fell into a community spirit after being in the Codecabin event, and then being more present, more active, more involved in the community activities. So it's not only for experienced Umbraco community members, but maybe even sometimes more for people who want to experience this from their side, right?
We can't guarantee you're going to get an MVP, but we can guarantee you'll come away with a love for spending time with these people, and you'll see them at future events, so at Codecabin, any meetups that you might want to attend, and then suddenly you've got that gateway into the community, and hopefully that keeps people going, and probably why they end up becoming MVP.
Yeah, I think it would be very empowering for someone who hasn't been involved in the community very much to come to an event like this, and you realize that what you have to say is useful, and it doesn't matter in whether you could be talking to someone who's been an MVP for 10 years, but there's still going to be some stuff that you do or your point of view that makes them think about it differently, and just realizing that there are all these cool things to do. And one reason why I do all the community work that I do is because I really like the people that I get to spend time with. So why did I accept the very kind offer to be a Codecabin organizer? Because it means I get to do stuff with Matt, Lee, Lucy, and Karl. Just kidding. And it's just kind of realizing that if you find this stuff fun, then there are some really nice people to get to know, to work with, to be able to reach out to throughout the rest of the year. And we've always had a really successful melange of people who come along, like a mixture of ages, experience. And so it's not cliquey, because nobody knows everyone. I don't think we've ever had a year where everyone's known everyone before they've come. And so the Friday night is very much sort of get to know each other in a very relaxed environment. And then you just watch people just chat away and to get on with things, and and maybe they become an MVP. But yeah, it really is just realizing that the Umbraco community is a great place to contribute to, and realizing that it's fun, and you get a lot back from kind of giving people your work is a really beneficial thing to do.
Of course, something what I mentioned here is like more like a natural mature transition to be some more community involved person, which is then seen from the outset as well, because everyone who attended Codecabin is proudly representing the Codecabin initiative. That's something what also is seen not only by the t-shirts but also by the kind of natural ambassadors of the initiative. So let's remind it once again. Today is the deadline to attend this year's edition. How many people are going to attend the event? Is there?
So we've limited to 20 developers via application.
20 attendees, yes.
And the deadline's tonight, which is, I guess, is a BST time we're in now.
I mean, I think legally it's midnight BST, but I don't think anyone's going to be checking till Monday morning. But that's an unofficial comment from me. Officially, it's tonight, please.
Apply now, just before we close the form anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said to that, I titled the episode like a deadline-driven applications, because I don't know what about you, but I'm always a deadline-driven person. There is always last minute, even though it's reminded every week. Still, a lot of people probably left it for the last minute.
There's a reason I have the nickname Last Minute Lotte. It's I think in the past my Codecabin applications have never been more than 24 hours before the deadline.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But that's good. So yeah, the form is still here. Be sure to apply if you want to go, and if not, maybe also check Paul's thread on Twitter, which I also collectively gathered today because Paul shared his time at Codecabin last year, and he wanted to recommend it. I believe it's not paid promotion in this case, because Paul really loved attendance there, and there are a lot of great pictures of everything what you mentioned: the rooms, group shots, fun games, food. Also, food was heavily mentioned by Codecabin attendees, and everyone who attended and wants to see how it's looking, maybe for the first time from the other perspective, check it out and attend.
And the pool table's been fixed, just in case anyone was worrying about that.
That's good. So yeah, let's jump to another topic, which is also connected a little bit with Codecabin, because it's script release time, and in this issue, it's 1960 issue of script. There's a highlight of Blake's topic that she shared on the Codecabin this year. It was about scalable websites and best practices for it. So there's an article highlighting this particular topic, and also a lot of links to great summaries of Umbraco Codecabin, last chance for Codecabin applications as well, and plenty of good and great blogs from around the web with Stefan's blog about task competition source pitfalls, and other really nice and useful articles. And of course, reminders about the events which are happening in the second phase of the year. So yeah, check out the script. And speaking about releases this week, Soren Kotal released an alpha version of the full text search for Umbraco, version 4.0, with some breaking changes and the changes around the HTTP client rendering and plenty of more, with contributions from Marcus in that one. So be sure to check it out. And also, there is a new version of Nikcho View Headless, which has a really pretty cool new documentation website as well. So in the all headless, maybe not madness, but the popularity of headless right now, thanks to also Umbraco v12 APIs, it's good to see how others were or are still doing it. And in this particular case, there's a really cool new queries, abilities, new extensions for the headless for GraphQL queries, and improvers over the tests. So please check it out if you haven't seen this one. And what about you? Have you used anything headless with Umbraco already, or it's still a new topic for you both?
No, this is quite new to me. I've not seen this before, so it'd be good to have a little explore of that. But mostly headless stuff in the past we've developed ourselves, so it'd be good to, once it becomes available in Umbraco, we can now start playing with it.
Likewise, I've always just kind of only needed a bit of headless, and so kind of rolled specifically for what we needed to do. And the moment you start doing it, you just start thinking, ugh. this, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it's definitely not a solution for all of the problems, and it's a source of another problems, which is also something what needs to be considered. And that was similar for me as well, because I was not fully convinced to Headless. I'm still not, and there is a lot of scenarios where it can be a solution, but in plenty of solutions where it won't solve the problem. So it's good to see it being used and developed and worked, and there's plenty of materials to really find out the best way. So this is one of them. And Aaron also had a really busy week this week, because he released 2 minor upgrades of Umbraco UmbNav package for Umbraco 10. Some issues being fixed here, and a little upgrade here, which added the is active extension for the navigation package for Umbraco V10. Other than that, there was also one update from Heather. The Dragonfly site tester package was updated and released on the marketplace. So this seems to test a solution based on some of the criteria in this case, and it has a dashboard and results. It's a pretty cool thing. I need to dive deeper to see what it can test, but it seems like really cool package to do a lot of the cool things. And that's all about releases. Let's talk about meetups. This week was a Codegarden recap meetups around, starting from Dutch community group and our 2 great barbecue masters here. I miss Callum there, because he was also known, and he's still known from the really nice barbecue skills. So that was a highlight and recap of the Codegarden in Dutch community group. There was a really nice meetup with Jeroen talking there, and I can't remember who else was talking there, but it was a really good meetup there, and plenty of burgers eaten around Codegarden discussions for sure. And there was also one more activity around Codegarden, not only Codegarden, but community related, and that's something what you, Lotte, participated in. Karl, did you also join the session on Discord? What was it, Lotte? Tell us more.
It was so there's been some discussions on Discord that starter kits would work better as .NET new templates rather than Umbraco packages, because you're never going to be updating them back to whether, if the starter kit changes, you're not going to be updating it, because you're going to take it in your own direction, and actually be a lot easier to get started with a whole Umbraco site with content in and schema, rather than having to spin up Umbraco and then follow the instructions to add a package. So that discussion's been going on Discord for a while, and Dean Lee has been working on a Bootstrap starter kit, and he really wanted to release it as a .NET new template. So he asked for help in creating a .NET new template from his working starter kit Umbraco site. And so we did a community-led Umbraco lab yesterday on Discord, where in 40 minutes, actually, we got the .NET template working so that it works just one command, and you've got his starter kit as a fresh new Umbraco site. It will clear the connection string, so you have to go through the install process when you load up your new site, and it worked first time, which I think slightly blew Dean's mind a bit. But it's a great, the custom building your own .NET templates from existing code bases is a really efficient way to reuse a starting position that you have, whether you go on to share it with community and push it to NuGet, or whether you just keep it to yourself, because you can install the templates locally and then just run it yourself. So I think there are lots of opportunities, and I've raised an issue on the marketplace repo to say, could templates be promoted on the marketplace? Because of course they won't be discoverable at this point via the marketplace, because they're not actually packages. And Nathan Wolf has replied he's not against the idea. Good old Nathan. I think that's his kind of positive endorsement. No, I think he thought it seems like a good idea, and when people are back from holiday, they'll have a chat to see. So it'd be quite good when Dean can get this posted to NuGet. It'd be quite good to have an actual real starter kit on as a template, so they could see it. So it's
not on NuGet yet then?
Not yet, because I suggested he might want to think about the name that he wants to use, and a logo and all the things that slow us down from actually getting something on NuGet. But it worked as a local template
Nice.
fine.
Yeah, nice. Dean messaged me yesterday that this unofficial Umbraco Lab session was really useful for him, and I think that's just a great proof. And thanks for releasing the video recording out of it, because we can see in an hour how to do it. And I do agree that there is a lot of situations where this templating can help for maybe micro packages, I don't know, extensions or whatever else that we'll be using, like packages or APIs, extensions. I see a lot of potentials, and I would definitely scroll through how it's done. And if Dean will release it, I'm sure that we can even maybe grab Dean and let him demo it, how it works in the umbraCoffee, and then we can chase Nathan and other team members to list it up, because that was a problem generally, I think, regarding NuGet and all the other things, because we have a marketplace, of course, for products. We have a NuGet which we see from Visual Studio or other tools, but we can't easily browse it. I don't know what about you, but I'm not going to NuGet website and search for packages there, right? It's always within the context of the project, right?
Yep.
And what about developers who are not using Visual Studio or tools like that?
Discoverability is a problem. Yeah, or a challenge that is being solved. I mean, the marketplace is so much better than our was, and also the great thing about the marketplace is that it is a up-to-date project which people aren't scared of updating, and so when new features are needed, they get added really quickly. They've got a really good team behind it, so yeah. I think the future is the marketplace. But I would just say that this was just Dean and myself wanting to work together, and we said, let's do it on a Thursday lunchtime, like an Umbraco Lab. So if anyone else wants to work together on something, then do it on Discord. Tell people what time you're doing it on Discord. If like the HQ could create an event in Discord, but they don't need to if you just promote it, and then anyone else can join in. I recorded this myself using OBS, which is why it's not quite the best screen layout, because I didn't actually practice it in advance, but you know, and then posted it up to YouTube last night. So you know, anyone can share knowledge and work together on the Umbraco Discord server. It's actually a really easy place to do it.
That's nice, and that's also nice related to the email that I received from Discord today, that I need to log in, because if not, my account will be deleted in August. So I really need to get back and see what's happening there. But yeah, thanks for sharing this video, and yeah, again, call to action for everyone who wants to collaborate virtually on the Discord. Plenty of people, plenty of great minds that can help, and yeah, it's a great way to be involved. Coming back to meetups, because still 3 of them are pretty close in time, and it's always worth to mention them. Bristol talks really soon with Richard and Owen sharing their knowledge next week on July 12th. So join down Bristol if you want to. London is also getting back to in-person meetup and review of Code Garden and much more, as it's said here. And it's the day after, right, at Zetland House in London, with Zeb Sadiq, Pritesh, and Adam and Sam doing the talks out there.
Yeah, I get to see the Strangler Fig. Strangler?
Yes, Strangler Fig. Yeah, I missed this talk as well on Code Garden.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but that's good. That's good. The stocks are getting back to some meetups, and there is one more. It's in Kent. It's the July 18th, so a week after, and also recapping the Code Garden and giving away some Umbraco swag. So that's a nice motivation to go there. But also there was a call to action for the Kent group that this group and probably also other groups are looking for some speakers. So if someone wants to share the knowledge, maybe from Code Garden talk, other talk, or life generally, daily life, be sure to reach out to people who are organizing meetups and do some collaborations, like Nurhak, for example, did here. He will be probably sharing this knowledge on the Kent group. Pretty cool. And yeah, I wanted to just have this call to action left here and make sure that we will help each other and fulfill the speaker seats as well. So that's meetups, and to close the meetups topic, I wanted to bring Matt's post from yesterday on Twitter, because Matt asked, "Are there any Umbraco online meetups anymore?" and I'm sure there are, because we've been mentioning some of the virtual and in hybrid, maybe more hybrid solutions too, with the Melbourne meetups and some other ones, and from answers and replies on this thread, it looks like people want to join virtual meetups. Did you join the virtual meetups a lot? Because I've mentioned it to you guys before we went online that I didn't attend any of the online meetups. I prefer in-person ones. But what about you? How you find the online events?
The last Bristol one was a virtual one, which meant we could open it up to a wider audience, which was quite good. But I think people do miss kind of in-person ones as well. I think the tricky part with hybrid would be having AV equipment and trying to broadcast that across the internet. We've seen from conferences how much effort goes into that to be able to do hybrid, especially like with Codecabin recently. But yeah, I think there's an appetite for online, whether or not it sits with individual meetups or if there's some other method, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan. I mean, I do prefer in-person meetups, but I love attending virtual meetups as well. And there is a Umbraco virtual meetup group. So if anyone does want to organize a virtual meetup, then there is we need to put a link on there. Unfortunately, due to the Twitter changes, TweetDeck no longer works. So I no longer have access to this virtual account. I need to ask Mike Macy to put a link. But on meetup.com, there is a meetup group called Umbraco Virtual. So that is where any non-regional virtual meetup can be promoted. And I have access to that meetup group. So if anybody wants to create a virtual meetup, they can message me and I can create it, or message Trina at HQ. And it would be great to see more online meetups, because obviously lots of people can't make one due to various reasons.
Yeah.
So if people do want to do talks or have idea of talks, or are just wondering how can they help do something for the community, organize a virtual meetup. It's really easy now because we've got a meetup group to promote it from, which is always the hard bit, promoting. We'll create a page on the meetup group and you just go and promote it and get people to do talks. And people will always turn up. People always turn up there. Yeah.
And we will, of course, promote it as well. So that's also something what I wanted to mention, because there is plenty of people who want to attend, but they can't. But at the same time, there were a couple of speakers who wanted to, for example, practice their talks. And, you can't do it like sitting in front of the computer, record it to yourself only and put it on YouTube, because that's, from the speaker's perspective, I can say that it's not a good thing. It's not the same thing as seeing even online people attending the talk and being able to get in some interactions and discussions after all. So yeah, I'm more up to maybe revising the idea of attending online meetups, and it would be good seeing by the interest around the people to see if that's something what can be maybe formalized a little bit more. So please, people, whoever is watching us right now, also let us know and let Lotte know if you want to, and not only Lotte, but everyone else who is behind the initiative, if you want to help and do something like that, because it might become maybe a repeatable initiative.
Yeah, one thing I'd say is maybe have shorter talks in a virtual meetup, because we've always had really good conversations, because everyone has a microphone in front of them and it's like a equal space. You actually, I think, end up with better conversations about the talk after the talk than you do in person. And so I would suggest sort of thinking about shorter talks, because that's easier to give online anyway, because it's a bit tough because you don't get that instant feedback because you can't see who you're talking to. So shorter talks and then conversation, Q&A or whatever afterwards. I think it's a really good format for the virtual space.
Yeah. I like the idea of lighting talks, just something what you've saw or did during the last week, and this is cool, let me know if it's cool. Yeah, it's cool, maybe you can do it, something like that, and then 15 minutes, 10 minutes or anything like that. So yeah, let's see and let's discuss and let's contribute as the community to this idea, and we'll see if and what it will result with. I've mentioned Jason's post as well. A couple of the last bits to mention. Paul released also a blog post this week after he started testing the headless APIs with Umbraco 12, and of course, maybe not of course, but majority of us faced the course policy challenges and issues, and it became relatively easy and easier definitely right now in this configuration service method to just allow what should be allowed and avoid issues and errors with communication between the cross origins requests. So Paul documented how it can be done and why it is important to set it up on the projects which are headless or not headless or have APIs that will be consumed or shouldn't be consumed from the outside of the application. So be sure to check out Paul's post here. And three more things to mention. I've seen a tweet from Jeffrey yesterday, and he mentioned a demo of a new marketing suite that he did for Umbraco. And he got some nice feedback, and that's a really nice sentence here. You have 90% of the functionality of Optimizely for only 10% costs. I just want this. Seems like they are doing a really nice progress on the platform, and we would love to see it more in action. I have not used it on the production side yet, and I probably need to refresh my knowledge about it. What about you? Did you have a chance to dive deeper into your marketing suite functionalities?
Not yet, but it's on the cards for us. I think some clients are very much interested in that, especially when you compare it to the price of Optimizely. So
yes. I think A/B testing is something what I was always mentioning, like a potential to finally use it for the client, because there were a lot of prospects who were willing to have A/B testing of their content, and it seems like it can do it. So maybe Jeffrey or the team members will share more about it in the upcoming future. But it seems like it's getting really nice and forward with the progress. And two discussions that I wanted to mention. Maybe some people who are watching us or will watch us later on YouTube will be able to contribute. Team started discussion about hosting for a smaller site, and also maybe less financial secure organizations like churches, charities, and people who wants to just host a small site and run it there. And I mentioned one of the hostings that I have for some of the solutions there, which costs £24 per year on my side. And it's like it is working for multiple sites that I hosted. So there are plenty of good replies here. And there were Rachel mentioned how she's hosting her site, and it's on Azure Static Web Apps with Xstatic and Umbraco on Azure. There was plenty of other mentions. And it's an interesting topic. It's still kind of not clear especially after .NET Core revolution, because we can in theory host it on Linux servers, but not everyone is promoting it. There are still database limitations. So yeah, it might be cool to know more about it. And please, everyone, if you have anything to share, any cool hosting provider who can do that. There is also, of course, Host from Aaron and plenty of other options, and Umbraco Cloud and things like that to compare with. So
it's a topic that comes up quite often at Codecabin. Yes. Pretty much every year, someone asks about hosting and how to get it to cheaper hosting or deployment methods and so on. So it's quite a common topic. So lots of people are asking this, I think.
Do you have a pre-formatted replies already combined, or it's different every year?
It changes every year, especially now we're on .NET. So cool.
Yeah. So yeah, please contribute here and make sure that you will prepare some replies for the discussions later on. And there was also one more question that I wanted to mention. It's like about pen testing, and Richard here asked it on our and what tools would people recommend for penetration testing of Umbraco website. And of course, it's more from around the web. There are plenty of tools to be used, and I couldn't remind myself a name of the platform that Umbraco was using, and there was plenty of customers that were testing their Umbraco website and sending the reports to Umbraco. It was VeriSign or something like that. I couldn't remind it today, but please share. And did you guys use any of the platforms like this?
No, I only ever get sent the outcome of whatever testers the client has engaged, and then trawl through the many pages of response that they have. So
Yeah, that was Vera code. Sorry, not very
Vera code.
Vera code.
Vera.
Because I've seen some of the clients that I worked with in the past were sharing their reports of tests, and there was plenty of false positives in this report, so it's we cannot trust all of them. But I would really love to see if there are some tools that are used, because I'm sure Umbraco is using some clients are using external providers to test their sites, and it would be cool to secure our Umbraco websites even more. So. Please, if anyone has anything to add, answer Richard, and let us all find out some cool tools to be used. And that's all from my list this week. So as usually, a lot of topics. Do you want to add anything else? What other topics are recurring and are repeated on Codecabins? Packages,
So
I'm sure.
hosting is always one. Package development, whether it's if you're new to it, you don't know how to get it into NuGet, or what tools people are using to build packages so it can be put into NuGet and so on. I think you've had quite a few discussions with people with that, haven't you, Lotte?
Yeah, I thought the ones that I always remember coming up are how can we earn enough money to retire early? It's not just code conversations that happen. There's quite what you have in that space is a lot of people with very similar lives, problems, and it's a lot of sharing about life things as well as code things.
Yeah, last year there was quite a detailed discussion about pensions and what happens later in life after you've finished coding, which probably a lot of us tend not to think about because we're enjoying coding now. So
yeah, it was the younger people who were thinking more about financial planning than us older people. But I don't know who us older people are, but anyway, But whatever people fancy talking about, I imagine the new back office will be quite a topic of conversation. Has anyone managed to get a property editor to work, that sort of thing? Although of course September is a couple of months away, but Denmark's on holiday, isn't it? So not much is happening at the moment.
Yeah, that sounds cool, and definitely it's changing year after year. But I wasn't aware that you were discussing a lot of the great topics around the
You should really come, Marcin.
Yeah, I was saying before that I will watch this episode and maybe rewatch it today before the midnight, whatever time zone we are here, and maybe apply this year. I need to sort out logistics, but I'm of course always interested in good talks, and I think this is the great kind of space, and 20 people is a pretty nice amount of people to still have a kind of intimacy of the space and ability to different opinions compared to each other, right? So that's
and you can fly to Manchester, not London.
Manchester.
Yeah, location's not a factor. We try and get everybody there together and in groups if we can to reduce people being on their own, so that nobody's traveling solo. Hopefully.
Yeah, and you had visitors. If I remember, also Alex Skripnik also visited from Ukraine, right, back in the days, and plenty of other foreigners.
America,
people from America, yeah.
Denmark. Where was Romeo from?
I think he was in Belgium at the time.
That's not quite as far as I thought. But anyway, far afield.
But yeah, for myself and for everyone who still wants to explore more about the idea and still feel need to be convinced, visit the website. Be sure to apply today, ideally not tomorrow, but definitely before Monday, and apply and make the organizer's life worse to choose.
That's a good point. No, don't bother.
It's better and worse at the same time, right? But
Dubai was the answer. Lee's just put it in the chat. So yeah, that's quite international, isn't it, Dubai?
Yeah,
very much.
So yeah, cool. Thanks both for joining me today and sharing this great vibe from not only Codecabin and everything, but everything else around Umbraco. Thank you all for being with us today, and have a lovely rest of the day and the weekend ahead, and we will see each other hopefully next week. So like, subscribe, share it, and share it especially with someone who might still consider Codecabin participation today. See you all next week. And thank you very much, Lotte and Karl. Have
Thank
a
you.
lovely rest of the day.